3 months ago, two of Europe's most powerful clubs made decisions that shocked the football world. January 5th, Manchester United sacked Rúben Amorim. January 12th, Real Madrid sacked Xabi Alonso. Both felt sudden, almost out of nowhere. But here's the thing, they weren't. The collapse had been building for months. And once you see how it built, you start to ask a much more uncomfortable question. Were Amorim and Alonso too stubborn to survive? Or did the clubs that hired them set them up to fail? Let's get into it. When both managers took over, the logic made total sense. Amorim at United, young, progressive, tactically sharp, he had a clear identity. That's exactly what United thought they needed after years of confusion. Alonso at Madrid, he came in with full backing from the top. His job was to bring more discipline, more structure, and more intensity to a squad that had started to drift. And early on, both situations looked like they were working. Madrid won 13 of their first 14 games, 5 points clear at the top of La Liga. Smooth. At United, the club backed Amorim hard, even when he made bold calls like excluding big names: Rashford, Sancho, Antony, Garnacho. The club didn't push back. They let him cook. From the outside, both projects looked under control. But underneath, the cracks were already forming. For Alonso, it happened in one specific moment. October, Madrid versus Barcelona. Madrid are winning 2-1. And then, in the 72nd minute, Alonso subs off Vinicius Jr. Vinicius loses it. He's shouting on the touchline, and he goes straight down the tunnel. Players get emotional. It happens. But what made it significant was what it revealed. Behind the scenes, some senior Madrid players were already unhappy. Alonso had come in trying to change things. More pressing, more tactical structure, stricter punctuality, less access to training for outside people. But by October, some players felt he was suffocating them. They missed the freedom they had under Ancelotti. And the Vinicius moment put all of that on full display. For Amorim, the first crack wasn't one emotional moment. It was structural, and it started before he even took the job. When United approached him, Amorim wanted to wait until the summer of 2025 to start properly. He wanted a full pre-season, a full reset, but the club gave him a simple choice: start now, or the job goes to someone else. So, he took it mid-season, and almost immediately, you could see the misalignment. On transfers, he had clear preferences. United didn't always follow them. He wanted Ollie Watkins as a striker, proven, physical, Premier League ready. The club pushed for Sesko instead. On this one, I must say Amorim was proved wrong over time. He wanted Emi Martinez in goal, experienced, commanding. United went for the younger, cheaper Sene Lammens. In retrospect, Amorim was wrong again. Even at the start, Amorim wasn't fully in control of his own project. After those early cracks, both situations deteriorated fast. At Madrid, the dressing room started to split. On one side, players who believed in what he was doing: Mbappé, Tchouaméni, Arda Güler, Ceballos, Raúl Asensio. On the other side, Vinicius, Bellingham, Valverde, reportedly not convinced. That's not one unhappy player. That's a divided squad, and that's a massive problem for any manager. Then Vinicius met Florentino Perez. He apologized for his behavior. He later apologized again at the training ground in front of the whole squad and coaching staff. But then in a public post, he didn't mention Alonso's name, not once. Some think that was deliberate. Madrid chose not to fine him. And according to multiple reports, that was the moment Alonso truly started to lose the dressing room, because the message it sent was clear. Certain players were untouchable. The coach's authority had limits. At United, the escalation looked different, but it was just as damaging. Players were getting confused. They'd train in a back four during the week, then come match day, Amorim would go back to the 3-4-2-1. And the trust issues went beyond tactics. Amorim felt the club had let him down in the transfer window. There was a winger he wanted, Antoine Semenyo. A meeting was arranged in London, but United pulled out. Then the club went and spent similar money on a different player anyway. That kind of thing isn't just frustrating, it's a signal. And Amorim was getting the signal that the people above him weren't fully on his side. By this point, both stories stop being just about football. They become about power. At Madrid, when the club refused to punish Vinicius after his outburst, it didn't just protect a superstar, it publicly weakened Alonso's authority in the eyes of every player in that squad. And then there were other tensions building around him. Injuries were mounting, and Antonio Pintus, the fitness coach personally favored by Florentino Perez, had been sidelined under Alonso, moved into a vague new role. As bodies started dropping, that became another pressure point. There were also disagreements over the squad. Alonso publicly said Madrid needed to be active in the market. Feeling within the club was there were no plans to bring anyone in, and Alonso wasn't making enough of the players he already had. And then there was the unsolvable football puzzle. How do you build a balanced team around Mbappe, Vinicius, and Bellingham all at once? There is a link in the description where Bale provides a solution for this. So, Alonso was managing player politics, boardroom pressure, injury concerns, and a tactical headache that didn't really have a clean answer, all at the same time. At United, the power struggle was more direct. Sir Jim Ratcliffe had opinions. He wanted a back four. He'd even floated the idea of using Mbeumo at wingback, which tells you everything about how deep those conversations were going. Jason Wilcox, seen as one of Amorim's main allies, found himself stuck in the middle. And as results got worse, the conversations between him and Amorim started to change. Wilcox pushed for more flexibility. He wanted Amorim to loosen his grip on the 3-4-2-1. Amorim did adapt, sometimes, a 4-4-2 against Bournemouth, something closer to a 4-2-3-1 against Newcastle. But when he went back to the 3-4-2-1 in a 1-1 draw with Wolves and subbed off Xerxes at half-time with barely any other attackers available, the hierarchy's patience started to run out. After that match, United's senior leadership stayed behind at Old Trafford for a long time, talking. 3 days later, Wilcox sat down with Amorim at Carrington and said it straight. The players can't trust your system. They're confused, and they sense you don't fully believe in them either. Amorim's response was just as direct. Then the players need to change. That was the break, right there. Once trust goes, results usually follow. At Madrid, they beat Valencia 4-0 after the Vinicius incident. But in the next 7 games, 2 wins. That's it. And even the wins didn't help. Before one game, Alonso cut down the video analysis sessions because players were complaining. Before another, some players didn't want to travel to Bilbao the day before the match. Alonso gave in. He promised 2 days off if they won. They did win, 3-0 against Athletic Club. But then they lost 2-0 at home to Celta. Chaotic. The Bernabeu booed. And those 2 days off suddenly looked like a massive mistake in the eyes of the club. At United, the decline was quieter. A team without a clear identity. A coach not trusted by the players or the people above him. Every bad result making the position harder to defend. Both managers had reached the same point. The moment when no result feels good enough anymore. For Alonso, it was the Spanish Super Cup, lost to Barcelona. And this came after Madrid had already been thrashed 4-0 by PSG in the Club World Cup semi-final and 5-2 by Atletico. The board had seen enough. For Amorim, the end came on his own terms, in a way. After everything with Wilcox, in his final game against Leeds, he picked the 3-4-2-1, 2 attackers. The same system people inside the club had been pushing him to move away from. It felt like a statement. If this is my last game, I'm going out my way. The next morning, he was sacked. And that's the thing about football. What you see on Saturday afternoon is usually just the surface. The real decisions, the power struggles, the conversations that actually end careers. Those happen behind closed doors. If you want more of that, the full story, not just the highlights, subscribe, because there's a lot more of this to come.